Like, no one will review it.
Why?
Because it's funny.
Well,
and
he's
and he's not being sanctimonious. He's not like talking down to people or preaching to them. He's just showing how nutty all these fucking people on these struggle sessions with white people.
The other one was great.
Dude, it's just like, I think it's better.
Great.
It's better than that because this one's really funny. What is a woman at certain times you're like?
Well, the trailer says it's a comedy.
Yeah,
it calls it a comedy.
It is a comedy.
I don't think the other one like really was pushed as that.
But he's essentially doing like a right-wing version of one of those like Sacha Baron Cohen type shows.
Yep. Matt Walsh has once again completely broken the brains of a lot of left-wing, a lot of woke idiots over on the left, and Joe Rogan is absolutely fed up with the way that the woke media and the left in general are treating people like Matt Walsh and films like Matt Walsh. Basically any piece of media that isn't like ultra woke, that doesn't have a gay, black, trans main character, they just treat it like absolute trash, and Joe Rogan is just fed up with the woke left acting as if they do, along with Dave Smith is on this episode as well. Let's get into this Joe Rogan clip here of Joe Rogan absolutely destroying the woke left for the way that they're treating Matt Walsh and Matt Walsh's new film.
I call it. It's not your fault. Well, it's not my fault. It's not your fault. Not you, Jay. Don't you do this, Jay.
Have you guys seen that Matt Walsh movie? Am I racist?
I haven't seen.
I watched the trailer today. Is it? What's it out?
It's really funny.
I've heard great things about it.
It's a top 10 movie in the country right now.
Yeah,
I think it's what number is it?
Well, the first one was
which is crazy, dude. It's got no press reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but customer reviews is 99%, which is wild.
That just goes to show you the state of Hollywood right now, man. Like, I'm not saying that the movie's bad or the documentary, whatever it's officially called, that Matt Walsh created. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but I'm based on the other pieces of Daily Wire content that I have seen. It's probably not the best movie in the world. I guess top 10 at the time is not like the greatest thing ever, right? Like really, there's only 2 blockbuster movies at a time normally, something like that, 2 to 3. So that's not like crazy, but at the same time, it kind of is. And it shows you the state of Hollywood and how bad it's gotten and how much faith people have lost in Hollywood. I don't watch movies anymore. I definitely don't go to the theater. And let me know in the comments if you guys go to the theater still. But because I'm not wasting, like, it's one thing to watch a movie at home and like I'm an hour in and I'm like, all right, this sucks. I'm not watching anymore. But if you're going all the way to the movies, you're driving 20 minutes there, you're sitting down, you're buying popcorn and a drink, you're spending even more money. And you're sitting down and you're wasting 3 hours of your life because movies can't be less than 3 hours nowadays. And then you spend 20 minutes driving home. That's like a 5-hour sequence of events to watch a shitty woke movie. I'm not doing it. So I don't even know why I just went on that rant, but like Hollywood is just so trash now that Matt Walsh can put out a movie that is absolutely shunned and basically blackballed, and they're trying to wipe it off the face of the earth. Nobody's reviewing it because they don't want to get on Hollywood's bad side, and it's still a top 10 movie. That number one shows you that the power of the people who, the power of the actual customers and the viewers. When things are good, the word of mouth really spreads for it. And number two, just how bad woke Hollywood has gotten.
Yeah, like no one will review it.
Why?
Because it's funny.
Well, and
he's not being sanctimonious. He's not like talking down to people or preaching to them. He's just showing how nutty all these fucking people on these struggle sessions with white people.
The other one was great.
Dude, it's just like, I think it's better. It's better than that because this one's really funny. What is a woman at certain times you're like?
Well, the trailer says it's a comedy.
Yeah,
it calls it a comedy.
It is a comedy.
I don't think the other one like really was pushed as that.
But he's essentially doing like a right-wing version of one of those like Sacha Baron Cohen type shows.
Yep. If you enjoy content like this, to make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
He's essentially doing that. He's sitting down with these people and he's pretending that he is with them and he wants to know, how he could do better. Number 7. Wow. Number 7 in the fucking country with no press, man.
It made $2.5 million this weekend.
Do you know how nutty that is to have no press and have a show take off and become a top 10 movie in the country? It's pretty wild. And no press reviews at all. It's an interesting time, man. It's interesting.
And it is like the thing that was real interesting about the first one, and I think probably is true about this, although I haven't seen it yet, is that even though he's obviously like a real right-winger, it's not like that's the movie. Like the movie isn't even making a right-wing argument or anything like that. It's just like letting these crazy left-wingers showcase how crazy.
Exactly. He's not going in there and like talking at you and saying like, look how crazy these people are. He's just talking to the people and he's letting them tell you how crazy they are. that's what makes this gold. That's why these Matt Walsh videos are so good. Exactly what Joe Rogan and Dave Smith are talking about here is because he's not like, this isn't a normal, like, let me give you my TED talk on why the woke left is so woke and bad. It's like, no, I'm going to actually go sit down with these idiots, with these leftists. I'm going to ask them questions and they're going to tell me how ridiculous they are. And then he also frames it in a funny way. So it's like more palatable for more people, more entertaining. So more people want to watch it. It's great. It's good work. You know, I definitely, like I said, I have honestly not much interest in watching it. I have a lot of things to do, but I support it for sure because it's spreading the stuff that I mean, I already know this stuff is true. I don't need to see it. I already know that these people are absolute lunatics, but it's good for people who aren't necessarily part of this world watching videos like this one, like who aren't super connected to this space, like watching Joe Rogan all the time or watching Dave Smith or watching Matt Walsh Daily Wire stuff. Just normal everyday people. They're like, oh, look, a comedy. Let me check this out. And then it's actually funny, but it also has the message and it spreads the message that they need to hear. I support that 100%.
Crazy they are.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you tell them. Like, it was nuts. He just went up to these, in the first one that I did say, he just went up to these gender experts and just kept asking them what a woman is. It
was crazy.
And they all just collapse into themselves. Like, this is the toughest question they never thought of.
The trans woman he asked outside was the best because it was like, well, what is a woman then? She goes, I think I want to go.
They've made it. They've tried to boil it down. I think I saw somebody do this the other day to like try to come up with a logical explanation. It was something really ridiculous. Like, although recognizing that there are biological differences, a woman is anybody who tells you they're a woman. While recognizing, so this is like the loophole. While recognizing that Harry probably can't get pregnant, he is now Harrietta. And that's just it. That's just it. There's no conversation that can be had here. And in some countries, they're talking about jailing people. Was it Scotland that had something about?
I don't. That's probably coming to the UK soon. That's probably going to be in Canada very soon. And then shortly after, it'll be in the US. That's why, dude, exactly what Joe Rogan is talking about. And look, I was one of those people. I was not always like this. You know, I wasn't. It's not like I came from a household that was like super, super conservative. Like, you better not be gay. You better, like, it was never like that. So I was never like this growing up, to where whenever people were like, oh, if you allow gay marriage, then, you know, eventually the gay people are just going to overthrow the government and force everybody to be gay. It's like, okay, man, that's a slippery slope argument. You probably shouldn't use that. It's a logical fallacy. But now if you look back on it, like the slippery slope stuff is 100% true. And now we're talking about this same thing where it's like, Matt Walsh can go ask people, like Joe Rogan is saying, what is a woman? And they can't answer the question. And then Joe Rogan says that their logical explanation that they've come up with is a woman is anyone who says they're a woman. Well, that's a way more slippery slope than the gay marriage stuff or any of the stuff that they were trying to come up with before that people were saying is a slippery slope. That's like the ultimate slippery slope. Because then, like, you know, anybody can go into whatever bathroom, anybody can play whatever sport. Like, we can have, you know, literally LeBron James, or I don't know, this is kind of, you might not know who I'm talking about, but if you're a football fan, like, imagine Myles Garrett, like, go and play, like, you know, go and fight in the UFC, the women's UFC. Like, dude, he'd demolish him. He's not even a UFC fighter. He's go demolish these women. Like, he's just so giant. He's such a gigantic person. He's so much stronger, but he can just say, I'm a woman. And I know you might, like, a lot of people out there would hear something like that and they're like, oh, that's ridiculous. That would never happen. But that's the same thing that people said in the beginning whenever all this stuff started with the slippery slope stuff. That's what I used to say in the beginning with all the slippery slope stuff. I was like, oh, you're ridiculous. That's never going to happen. Like, it's just gay people getting married. I don't like to see it. It's not fun for me to watch a dude kiss another dude. That's not fun. I don't like seeing that. But it's, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'll live. You know, and the arguments you guys are making, it's like a little bit outlandish, right? Now I'm realizing, no, it's not outlandish at all. Like, this stuff could happen, and it could happen very quickly. One of the things that people used to say is like, oh, eventually you're going to be jailed for not allowing this stuff to happen. And look, it's happening now. Joe Rogan's talking about in Scotland, it's happening. I'm sure it'll happen very soon in the UK, and shortly after it'll happen in Canada. And then if we allow it to keep happening, if we allow the slippery slope to actually play out, it'll happen in the United States too.
A proposal about literally jailing people for misgendering people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like a big discussion always. Yeah, but it's
but what they were talking about, putting people in a fucking cage. Like,
yeah,
find out where that was. Was that in Scotland?
That's the thing that happened in Canada. In Canada, a guy got sent to jail for mischief. He wouldn't agree to call his like son a daughter or vice versa.
I mean, how many people
And he
are
went to
actually
actual jail.
legitimately it's like 0.001% of people are actually
Well,
trans.
now it's way higher than
Well, now
that with
it's
young
not-
people because there's not a real thing to
It's
being
the new
trans
goth,
anymore.
dude.
Yeah.
It's the new
I was
goth.
3 steps away from racing my cars and doing donuts, and also 3 steps away from becoming trans.
Yeah, they're
right in
next
that
door
sweet spot.
neighbors. They're just like Moonies.
By the way,
You can join up, man. You can
ironically-
join up.
I just wanted
And
to fit in
everybody
with
would love
somebody.
you.
Lewis, ironically, if you were Asian, you would have been better at both things.
Maybe,
Bro,
possibly.
you would have been a tough sale as a chick.
No, dude, I look good as a chick. First of all, me and Dave dressed up.
Yeah, you're just so impressionable, man. Like even through high school, like you're so impressionable. Like I said, even like through high school, like towards the end, like when I got a little bit older in high school, I was more like along these lines of how I am today. But I still wasn't like super hardcore, like super hard stance on it. But like you're just so impressionable. Like depending on who your friends become, who you hang around, like it can form your entire belief system. And if you have like the authority figures, the teachers telling you, oh yeah, it's like totally normal to just be trans. Like that's like, you know, it's like a 50-50 chance that people are trans nowadays. Like if the teachers are telling you that, the authority figures, it's going to morph your brain. You're going to push more towards that because it's like, oh, I want to be different. I want attention. You know, that's really how it is. If you look at all the trans people out there, it's like they're normally attention deprived. They're normally not very attractive at all. So they just want to be trans or gay or something just to get attention. Like that's how it goes. Like just being brutally honest, that's how it always goes. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about Joe Rogan going off on the woke media for not covering this Matt Walsh movie or documentary or whatever it is. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh versus the woke media situation.